Hello everybody, Jim Fisher here, Exeter Cookery School, at home in my little kitchen in Bampton. One of the things we get asked most by the people who come on courses and when they email is, Chef, how do you portion a chicken? Sounds simple, doesn't it? Well actually, there's a bit of an art to it, and there are actually two ways you can portion a chicken depending on what you want to do with the final result. So I'm going to show you both ways. The first one, we're going to take the breast off the chicken completely, so no bone on the breast, and we're going to remove the leg portion in one piece, so you'll have thigh and drumstick in one piece. And then the second version, we're actually going to split the carcass, and then we're going to have a little tugging session with the leg and the wing, and then cut through a very obvious little joint, and then basically that's it. So very simple. First things first, get your workplace set up. So down here I've got my chopping board, and I've actually put it on a damp, clean tea towel, and that stops my board wobbling around so it doesn't slide and wobble anywhere. Knives. This is a bony knife, and this is what we use at the cookery school on our knife skills course and our butchery courses. If you don't have a knife like this, that's fine, just use a paring knife, one of those small short bladed knives at home, that'll be fine. I'm also using a large chef's knife. Don't be put off by the size. I'm going to show you how to handle it properly, and this helps when you're cutting down through the rib cage and the bones to separate out the joints. And also a pair of scissors. These are kitchen scissors, so buy a good brand of kitchen scissors, make sure they're really sharp and in good working order, and we're going to use this to help us joint up that chicken. So straight to the chicken then. So down here, Lizzie, I've got my lovely free range chicken in here, and I always keep my chicken out of its polythene if it comes in a plastic bag. Take it out of the bag, put it in a clean dry tea towel, pop it into a tray, make sure it's properly covered up, and then you can pop that in your fridge, and that will give you a lovely dry skin. So if you just leave it overnight in the fridge, make sure it's properly defrosted, and then make sure that skin is lovely and dry. It's much nicer to handle that way. So let's see what we've got in here. So look, we can see we've actually got some giblets. This is lovely. This is gravy. This is what you're going to make your gravy with. So this is the neck. So we're going to pop that in there, and also we've got a little bag of bits and bobs in here. So what have we got in here? Let's have a little look. It's not often you find this inside a chicken these days, but we've got the heart and the liver. So that's rather nice. You can freeze those livers if they hadn't been frozen before, make a nice little chicken liver pate, but the rest of it can go in the stock. So a quick wash of my hands. Just make sure you keep nice and clean, nice and hygienic when you're handling chicken. But don't wash your chicken under a running tap. So the current advice is just take your chicken out of the wrapper, joint it up, and cook it. Okay. If you wash it under a running tap, you create what we call an aerosol. It's kind of a very fine mist, invisible mist, and in that maybe some bacteria. Okay, so let's take our chicken. We have the breast here, which has got a crest running down the centre. So this is a kind of a crest here. You know what I'm talking about on all birds. And in actual fact, when you're jointing a chicken, everything we do here today, you can use to joint a duck, a turkey, an ostrich, or a wren. Yeah, I know wrens are endangered species. Don't worry, I won't be portioning a wren. But birds are all the same anatomically. So whatever we do here applies to all birds. So we've got this central ridge running down here. That connects the two breast muscles together, gives the bird power of flight. And what we're going to do, we're going to cut down just to the side of that central ridge there, just down here, and I'll show you that now. We're starting up here by this cartilaginous area. Identify where the little ridge is. You've got your wishbone in here, running through there like that. So get rid of that bit of paper. And then we've got wishbone here, and what was the neck in there. So we're going to put our knife in just to your side of that central ridge. We're going to angle the knife slightly toward the bone. So if we make a mistake, if we slip with the knife, it will just go into bone and it won't cut any flesh. So we're just going to take the knife down here like this, all the way down that central ridge. You might need a couple of cuts to do that. Make sure you angle that knife, keep it angled toward the bone. And now I'm on the wishbone, so I turn my knife and then I cut around that wishbone like that. So now we're just beginning to open up the breast there. So you've got the true breast meat here, and you've got the little tenderloin or the fillet just in there. So we put that back. Now we're going to come and cut round the leg. So we want to leave as much skin on this breast as possible. So we're going to prise the leg and the breast apart, and I'm going to cut erring on the side of the leg. So I'm just coming in here, very small cuts. I'm just cutting through the skin. Nice sharp knife. Pull that leg away like this. Just keep cutting through there, cut through the skin down there. So I've left as much skin as I can on the breast. Cut a little bit further down there and a little bit up here. So here, look, you've got where my finger is now, that's on the pelvis, and then there's a bit of meat in there. This is part of the thigh. So I'm actually going to cut across here like that into the thigh there, the top of the thigh where the pelvis is. So now we've kind of defined what parts of the bird we're going to take off. So back to the breast. We're going to come in here and we're going to pull the breast meat away. So use your thumb and now go in with the tip of the knife, look. And as I'm putting outward pressure on the breast, we're just going to go in here like this, make tiny little cuts all the way down, feel your way around the carcass, don't do too much in one go. And at this point, that carcass begins to fall off like this. And you've got to make sure your knife follows that fall off, okay? Because otherwise you're going to lose a lot of meat to the carcass. And what we want to do is harvest as much meat from that breast as possible. We're just going to cut through there. That's the skin. And now you can hold the breast in your hand here. And a little tip here, folks. Lucy, up to me a second. When you're doing anything like this, any butchery, anything that involves wet things and sharp knives, what you want to do is just make sure you keep your knife hand dry. So I'm right-handed, so I haven't touched the bird with my knife hand. I'm just manipulating it and turning it around with my left hand. Okay, so keep your knife hand dry. So back to the chicken. Here we go. So we're just going to cut through here like this, always pulling away. And now we're down onto the shoulder, or where the wing starts. So we're just going to cut through. There's a little tendon there. Can you see that? Little tendon in there. It's quite a tough little beggar. So we're just going to slice through that, keeping our tension on the breast, and then we're going to navigate around where the shoulder or the wing starts. So you can see here, look, this is where we are, around about here. So you come inside again and just start to navigate around there, keep hold of the breast, and there it goes. And it's come away now. So we can just lay that out there like that. So a nice bit of skin on that breast. I'm not going to trim any of that skin because that skin means flavour, and I love eating the skin. Over here, look, we've got the little tenderloin or the fillet. You can either leave that on or you can take it off. I'll probably leave that on for now. So that is a nice little breast portion. Maybe about 10 ounces, something like that. Fry that up in a little bit of butter, and that'll be another recipe, folks. So that goes in there. So back down to the leg now, please, Lucy. So look, we've already delved into this area here. I just want to kind of cut through that little bit of skin. And look, in here, look, can you see that? Can you see that's the ball joint of the hip? So this is the ball and that's the socket. So we've just got to pull that out of the socket like that. And now what we do, we take our knife and we kind of lift up the chicken just to put a bit of tension on there. And if you can, Lucy, if you can kind of just show both sides of this, I don't know if that's possible at all, but what I want to do is going to come close to the carcass here, look. I'm just going to let my knife follow the carcass around here like that and wiggle, wiggle, wiggle around the little ball joint, the hip there, and then out through the other side. And look how easy that was. So I've not crunched through any bone. I've just navigated between the joints. So that's our little leg joint in there, perfect. Here we go. So the wing, this is for your lovely sort of barbecued sticky chicken wings. What you want to do with this is ever so complicated in there. There's all sorts of stuff going on in the shoulder, goes all kinds of ways. So it's like a universal joint on a car in many ways. So what we want to do is just make sure we're harvesting as much flesh as possible, and then we're going to lift up the chicken like this, and then from here just going to come in, going to saw away like this, and I can feel that chicken dropping, and I'm just between, see that's the end of the bone, see up to me Lucy, look, that's up here now, alright, so I've got my collarbone, my shoulder, I've got the top of my arm here, so that's my arm, this is my collarbone effectively, so just going to cut through there, and look again, look how easy that was, and it just comes away with no crunching through bone. So this basically, so a chicken, right, so right, I thought that there, look, so chicken's a little bit like humans, alright, so I'm being a chicken now, so this is my shoulder, up here, this is my upper arm, this is my forearm, and this will be my hand, so basically I'm like that, so there's me being a chicken, alright, so that's basically what you have in there. So understanding the anatomy of an animal is really useful for portioning it up. So that is portioning a chicken. Now we can take things a little step further. I'm just going to pop that in there for now, and I'm just going to separate the drumstick from the thigh. Now in here, I'll just give my hands a wash, because I've had to touch the chicken with my knife hand, so I'm just going to a little wash and a dry. And now look, we need to separate drumstick from thigh. So it's not an easy thing to do really, because there's all sorts of stuff going around in here. But if you get your finger and feel in here, but just between the two, where the joint is, so you can see where the joint operates, and it's just running through there, you put your finger there and you can feel a little sort of depression. And actually what that is, Lucy, up to my knee please, okay, so if you just relax your leg and you put your hand here just below your kneecap, there's a soft bit just below the kneecap, and that is actually the same as what we've got on a chicken. So we're going to use that to our advantage. We can slice through the joint. So identify that area there, err on the side of the drumstick as opposed to the thigh, and then we can just cut through there like that. There we go. No need to cut through any bone. And the joint there is actually quite soft, so that's mostly cartilage in actual fact. And there you can see the knee joint of our chicken. So there we go. So there's the drumstick, the thigh, the wing, and the breast. Next, we're going to portion the chicken a slightly different way. We're going to use the other side, and then I'm going to show you how to do it. It's actually more simple this way, but it's quite a fun way to do it as well. Okay, so coming back later to portion the rest of our chicken. So, just to remind you, Jim Fisher here from Exeter Cookery School at home, talking from my little kitchen up here in Bampton, and we're talking chicken, in fact portioning chicken. So we've already portioned our chicken on one side, so that's given us a breast portion, a drumstick, a thigh and a wing. And now we're going to portion the other side, but we're going to use a very different method to do the other side. And actually, we're going to start with a pair of scissors. So you need to arm yourself with a good pair of kitchen scissors, nice and strong, very sharp. And then the first thing we're going to do, where we had the breast before, and we just removed that from the carcass, we're going to come in here into the neck, up here like this, in the neck, and I've got my scissors right in that cavity there, and I'm going to snip up through here. It's quite tough, separating that. So now we've got the inside of the chicken there. Looks a bit like the face hugger from Alien, doesn't it? So what we're going to do now is, if this was all intact, if all those bits were still on there, what we'll do is come up through here, snipping away, and that gives us a lovely bit of carcass which we can chop up and we can put in our stock. So we're making stock. We can do liver parfait, a chicken liver parfait. So this is stock bits, this is our heart and liver. So back to this part now. Here look, if you can hear that, what we've got is that breastplate. So Lucy, up to me, this is the plate, the sort of cartilaginous, bony plate that comes down here like this on all birds. So we've already removed the breast from one side, now we're going to cut down the other side of that little plate, that little crest, through the breastplate. So you can do this whole thing with scissors, and actually in fact that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to identify where I'm going to start. So in fact I might start here. So you come in the soft part of the chicken, look, and we're just going to snip up through here like this. Take it in stages, there we go, and just cut through there. Again, more stock. And now we're going to cut down either side of the backbone, either side of the spine. But be careful, make sure you know where all your fingers are. There you go, and that's the rest of our carcass for stock. Just snip off any erroneous bits of fat and skin. So now we have our nice piece of chicken carcass. So that's your half chicken, and in fact you could actually whack that on the barbecue and it would be like half a spatchcock chicken. That'd be absolutely wonderful. What we're going to do is something quite special. Now, up to me, Lucy. Now, the person who taught me to do this, it's very close to me, very dear to me. It's actually the person holding the camera at the moment. So Lucy, say hello, turn the camera around, hello. Lucy, so people can see. Hello
everyone, hello.
So, not many people know this, but Lucy used to be a butcher in a former life, okay, when she was much younger, and she taught me how to do this. It's a really cool trick. So you've got to use both hands with this one. If you want to keep your fingers dry, hands dry, you can use a tea towel like this to grip the chicken with, but I'm going to show you by hand. We're going to take hold of the ankle, the end of the drumstick. We're going to take hold of the wing, nice and firm, and look, we're going to pull it apart like this. Stretch it, and what you see here is a little valley that appears, and that is going to be where we're going to make a little cut. So I'm just going to wash my hands. So I've got good grip on my knife because we need quite a bit of power to cut through this little bit of chicken here, because there's a lot of bone in there which we need to cut through. So nice clean dry hand to hold your large knife with. You can use scissors, but I just want to show you the knife. We've pulled our two pieces apart, creating a valley down there, and look, all we do, put our knife down through there. Voila. So how simple is that? So that leaves us again with our drumstick and thigh. So that's going to go in there, and then we have our breast and wing portion. So this is still attached to the carcass, look. So there's bone under there, and often meat cooked on the bone, it's a very nice thing. You can serve it just like that on the plate and let your dinner party guest or your family just pull that lovely succulent chicken off of the carcass. So what we're going to do is just going to cut this little bit off here because there's no flesh in there whatsoever. So it's just going to get in the way, and we need a bit of power. So heel of the hand on the tip of the knife, and then crunch like that, and that can go in our stock. That leaves us with a bit of wing and a bit of breast. I want to cut this into two pieces, but clearly if I cut it exactly in half there, I'm going to end up with a small piece of breast and lots of meat on this end. So you've got something like 2/3 the weight of that portion here to here. So I want to come right up here. So essentially, if I were to weigh each piece, it's going to be roughly the same weight, but I'm going to do it by eye. So I'm just going to come across here, look, going to cut down through that breast portion, and then a little bit of power again, heel of the hand onto the knife, crunch down, job done. So we have our little wing portion and our breast portion. Up to me. There we go, folks. How easy is that? Jointing a chicken or portioning a chicken two ways, depending on what you're going to do with it. There you go. See you next time for how to cook this lovely bit of chicken up.